Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. Well, we are here today and we have Megan Fox's book.
We do. So we're going to be talking about that a little later on in the episode.
Yep. We were so excited to get it. And I guess there was a lot of stuff that happened this past week. We had BravoCon that we unfortunately didn't make it to this year.
Seemed like there's a ton of people there.
I know, it really did. It would be so fun to go.
It would. It would have been more fun to have gone back when it was like all the OG people.
I know. I mean, now I do think it's like interesting that they're streaming stuff on Peacock, but like I don't really care to go back and watch like the panels and stuff. Like I think they actually did a really good job of putting them on their social media.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I just like enjoyed watching those little snippets.
Yeah, like just the main good stuff.
But hopefully next year we'll be there. Sponsored by somebody.
Sponsored by Bravo.
Yeah. They'll fly us out. Actually, we will be on a panel.
Yeah. We will be Housewives.
Did you see that like 84-year-old woman, Ruth?
No.
Oh my gosh. She loves Bravo. I guess her husband was like sick or something. And while she was just taking care of him, she would watch the Housewives and these other Bravo shows. And so she just came out by herself. And then she asked a question at one of the panels. And then I guess like everybody loved her, obviously, because she was so freaking adorable. And then they asked her to come back for like a step and repeat, like a photo thing. And then Andy came out and surprised her. And he was like, have you made friends since you've been here? And she said, I've made about 12. And Andy said, can I be 13? I know. Isn't that
so sweet?
I know. It was really wholesome.
That is wholesome.
But how like amazing. She just went by herself. She was like, I'm going to go to BravoCon.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't do that by myself.
No. I guess you probably don't care at that age.
Yeah, and she was probably just like, you know what? I have some money. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go to Vegas. All right, Winnie, what's the movie? Your dogs.
Come on, you guys.
Yeah, but it was fun to watch the content, and it seemed like it went on for so long, even though it was only like 3 days.
I know, it did seem like they had everything jam-packed. The only stuff I was really looking at was the Vanderpump.
Yeah.
And it was the just Sandoval.
I just
so annoying.
I thought it was interesting how they really didn't have him in a lot of other panels and stuff. Yeah. It was mainly just the cast one. And I wonder if like that was a Bravo decision or if that was him saying like no. But we kind of talked about it when we heard like Lala said, you know, like I'll give it to him. Like if it were me, I would have just like crawled away basically, and he's out here, and then Brock saying he's our friend. Like, what is going on?
I mean, he's your friend.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be your enemy. I know, and it's like, I don't know, it's so tough too, because it's like at the end of the day they are co-workers, but it's just like, and come on, like you were so mad at him, and then I was like, well, I was mad about something else. I was going through something else, and
is that your excuse for everything?
Literally, it's like, okay, well, you still were saying the whole season, and before in other seasons, you've talked about not liking Sandoval,
right? And then in the same breath at BravoCon, she's like, I filmed with him all these other times when I didn't like him, so it's really not any different for me. So I'm like, okay, do you like him or not?
I know, like pick a side, all right.
It's just like, I guess it's not that I want him to be like punished for eternity.
Right.
And like,
but I don't know how he could be like your friend after that.
Or just like, you didn't take any time to rebuild trust.
Yeah,
you know?
and now all of a sudden you guys are all best friends. Did you see the new preview or the
trailer?
The trailer.
Yeah, I did see it.
Yeah, they didn't give us much.
No, they didn't. They didn't give us a whole heck of a lot.
But it seemed like Sandoval's just showing up.
Right. I know. Like nothing. I guess it's just... Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like we've seen a lot of growth from him either. No. And he hasn't even truly acknowledged and owned up to his wrongdoing. I mean, it's always like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, but like that's what it always is. And he won't take accountability. And maybe he does on the season. I don't know.
I know. I'm not impressed though right now.
No, and we said this too previously. Like, it kind of made me feel a little bit uncomfortable for Ariana. Like, yeah. So, where do your allegiances lie?
I know. You know? Or if she's kind of, I wonder even if she's at the point where she's just like, these are my coworkers.
Yeah, and it seems like her and Katie are really the only ones that are like, Katie's the only loyal one.
I know, and they're like,
which
no
isn't
Toms.
Really anything new.
Literally.
Yeah, that just rubbed me the wrong way. It made me not as excited for this upcoming season.
I know, I'm not really happy about that. I mean, I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I know we have to just wait, but I am glad it's January, right? So that's a little sooner than we were thinking. Yeah. It still seems like an eternity away, even though we're already in November, but still.
I know. But I don't know.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to say from BravoCon was we're just getting a lot of Teddi Mellencamp recently.
So is she at BravoCon?
Well, I don't know if she was actually there. There's really no reason that she should be. But she did come out when they did the live Watch What Happens. And they did
I did
something about like squash the beef or, one of those games. And it was Vicki. And then it was like, and question mark? Who could it be? And then the doorbell rings and Teddi Mellencamp comes out. So I don't know if I don't think that she was at other things, but I could be wrong. I mean, she is. I didn't ever hate Teddi, but I just found her so boring. Like, I never thought she gave much.
No, I can't even really remember much of... I just remember her on the seasons, but I don't really remember her actually.
Right.
Like what her storylines were.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. How long was she on there? Because I feel like she was on there for a couple seasons and then I had stopped watching at that point. And she was still on.
It was multiple. It wasn't just like two. Like, I don't know if it was as many as 4, but I mean, it was multiple.
So is her and Tamra's podcast, is that like a weekly podcast?
I don't know, because it seems like almost every day there's new stuff, and they're like, on the most recent episode, it's like do you guys just hop on when there's a new thing breaking? Literally. I guess this isn't a new take because so many people have said it online too, but it's just like, why are you commentating on all this stuff, Teddi? Like, you're not involved in this franchise anymore. It's like Bethany, too. Like, why are you getting involved?
Right.
Like, I know with Teddi, like, okay, your dad is John Mellencamp, but people didn't know who you were before you were on Housewives.
Right.
So what you have now is because of Housewives. Are you shocked by how many seasons?
Well, let's start... No, I'm looking at how many episodes they do. They from last Friday, they have like literally, does she just get on when she hears something?
How many are there?
So from Friday, there's a 13-minute, a 27-minute, a 12-minute, a 24-minute. Then on Saturday, a 20-minute, 19-minute.
Those are all for one day?
Yeah. These are all Saturday. 9-minute Saturday, 43-minute Saturday, 22-minute Saturday, 9-minute Saturday, 19 minutes. Then Sunday, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Monday, yesterday, and today.
So do you think that that's like a strategy where they're like filming it all and then they just break it all up?
Or like, how could it be 9 minutes?
That's maybe a waste of time.
Maybe that was mostly the BravoCon stuff. But it's like August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd,
so
August 8th.
So it is like every day.
Yeah, 2 on August 8th, 10th, 15th, 16th, 21st.
Wow, okay.
Anyway,
so it's kind of sporadic.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, like I said, it's just frustrating that she feels the need to comment on everything. And I know that Tamara's still on the show and they have a podcast together, but it's kind of just like, it just seems like she's constantly trying to start stuff to make herself more relevant.
I actually haven't seen too much of like the stuff she's been saying.
I've seen so much. It's like every time I look at our Instagram, it's like something about Teddi Mellencamp. And it's just like, I don't really care that much. And it just seems really almost like desperate that she like wants to keep herself out there.
Why did she leave the show?
I don't know. Did she leave or was she not asked back?
I don't know.
That was the time period where I like stopped watching for a while too. So I don't know.
I know. I just wonder.
But she really, I mean, like you said, I can't even think of a moment. The only one thing that comes to my mind was the season that when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And how she was just like blubbering all the time because her hormones were so crazy because she was pregnant.
Right.
And she's just there like, oh, she had that like fitness retreat or something for that business that she had.
I do.
And then she was like, I don't really care if you guys come.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, if you don't care, then
I forgot about
won't. Then I won't come.
Right.
And then she's like crying, and they're like, wait, what?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we all gotta make a living out here, but and the feud with Vicki is just like, why is this happening? And then the one thing I saw,
wonder if Tamara like starts stuff amongst her friends. And
what do you think?
Well, it just seems like that's where that must come from, is it's always like Tamara's friends are fighting, and
she's the one that's innocently in the middle.
Well, Vicki said this, Teddi.
Yeah, the stuff with Vicki is pretty back and forth, and I just watched that earlier today from that clip at BravoCon, and she said something relating to like, I can't even remember what it was. It was really relating to cancer and comparing it to like fighting with Vicki or something, and Vicki was like, you are disgusting to say that, and she walked away. And then Teddi on the podcast, and this is pivoting, but I don't know if they're always together either, because this one part, the clip of the podcast that was on Instagram, it was only Teddi.
Well, it said 2 T's in a pod with Teddi Mellencamp.
So maybe she's just hopping on, going rogue right now.
Right.
But yeah, it was like a confessional, and she's like, let me break down the entire thing, and this is why this happened. It's like, I don't need your justifications. I don't care about the play-by-play. Just like, have your podcast and talk about literally anything else, please.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's weird. Like, do you think it's weird?
I think so. I just haven't been seeing it, so I don't know what she's been saying, but it does seem, I don't know. It's like, then be on the show if you want to be on the show.
Right. I know. That's what it feels like. Like, she wants back in it so bad. But they don't want her back.
Well, at this point, I'd almost rather have her than Tamara.
Oh my God. Same. But there's no way we would have one without the other at this point. I think they should get rid of Tamara and just bring back Vicki. Forget it. Just.
I don't even know how, like, I don't even know if I want to watch it next season.
We 100% need Heather. Heather needs to come.
But everybody else.
I know. It was a bad season.
And it was a bad chemistry. Like, I just don't feel like those people liked each other.
Well, and that's what's so confusing, too. Obviously, we know that there is editing and stuff in a reality show, but it's so, like, mind-spinning when we see these horrible, horrible fights and things said about each other.
I know. And then you see Tamra and Heather all buddy. I'm like, I get like it was filmed a while ago, but still, it's like, I just don't think I could just get over that where you like publicly destroy me.
Yes.
Over and over and over for season after, or like episode after episode. It's like, I don't think I could just get over that. And then it's like, what was the point of that then?
Yeah.
What was the point of all that
Was it
heartache?
all calculated then?
Yeah, it's like, was it fake?
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm like, well, now I don't even know if I want to watch next season after that.
I agree. It was very just, I don't know, seeing them in BravoCon and them like buddy again was like, really just confusing.
And I do feel like BravoCon is probably like Kairos.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like all bonding over your job, basically.
Right. And the vibe is so good.
And then when they leave, all of a sudden they're all fighting about stuff that happened at
veil is dropped. The illusion
must be that.
broken.
That's probably what's going on.
I hope so. That's a good analogy. It'll take like a couple weeks, but it'll go back to normal.
Everyone hating each other.
I know. Well, should we touch slightly on Beverly Hills just while we're talking about?
Sure.
I feel like there wasn't a ton of stuff. I mean,
it was pretty.
We didn't talk about the episode last week because we just didn't.
And it wasn't like a great opener. No. Like it was so staged and like.
Yeah, didn't you think it was weird how like typically they don't start off with
like a retreat.
Yeah, with an event like that.
What even is this? It was just so annoying.
It was so, it really was. And it was just like, all right, let's get everybody together. And I thought that how like they were focusing so much on like Eagle Woman. It was weird. It's like, this is clearly like a Native American ritual. Are we that tone deaf?
I know
it was weird.
I know. I literally have almost no words for it. I'm like, okay, enough of this. And then it was like she came in and visited the house, and then they went to the retreat. Yeah, I was like, what?
And they kept that joke going way longer than they should have throughout the episode. That was just kind of uncomfortable.
Then it almost felt like it wasn't even the first time they all saw each other.
Right.
Like it just like I feel like they were trying to do that when in reality it was probably like filmed like I don't know.
Or even just regularly, like socially, they've probably seen each other.
Right.
Like you mean to tell me that Beverly Hills is so small, but you only see each other when you're filming?
I know,
Come
on. Into that.
We have the Kyle and Mauricio stuff. This was said at BravoCon, like Jeff Lewis was like, Kyle hates Mauricio. I mean, you could see and feel the disdain.
Was like, it was very much like, oh, is that bothering you?
Yeah. But it was like I mean, it's one thing to be kind of like sassy or mad at your partner. But I mean, this is like on camera. She has never acted this way.
I know.
She's letting
the veneer down.
Yeah. And it was just like every little thing. Like he's on a work call. If it really was, who knows? That could have been nothing. But she's like, ugh, are you done yet? Talking about golf, which he never even was talking about. It was like every little thing he did just was annoying her and made her hate him even more. But that's what I wrote down and I forgot my notebook. We talked about when did the Morgan thing happen?
Yeah, so I'm like, has this already happened and she's already like in love with Morgan and that's why she's like so disconnected from Mauricio?
Well, I think yes, because I believe, now since I don't have my notes, I could be wrong, but I did do a deep dive and it was either June or January. I think it was January 2022.
Is when they're filming or when she met Morgan?
Started, when they were first became, like she posted her on Instagram that they were like, they met. And she's like, I met Morgan Wade.
So she's already getting emotionally fulfilled by somebody else.
Yes, I do. And then she's like, well, I have plans for another tattoo. Oh, is it the M?
That conveniently could also be for Mauricio.
And you made the connection. Mo for Morgan.
I know.
or
I know.
Mauricio.
It's like simple. It's like she's almost calling both of them Mo. Yeah. And so she's not going to screw up the other name. So do you think this was the storyline the whole time then?
I don't know. It almost feels like
after like the Vanderpump thing, I'm all like, is this what it is? Or is this what it became?
I feel that since they would have been kind of hanging out before they started filming, that it kind of was maybe like there was some trouble in paradise, trouble in their relationship, and the Morgan Wade stuff definitely, made that more apparent. And maybe she just like couldn't hide it on camera anymore, and this is just what they filmed. I don't know, like, because since it's from the very first episode, like, I know that they produce things, but like we've never had a Bravo show like fully produce that much, where they would sit down and create a full-on storyline and then film. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I think that they love each other and that she's being emotionally fulfilled by Morgan Wade.
I definitely, if it's not a physical relationship, it's definitely very, 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 very emotional.
But listen, as Heather McDonald has said, a late and light lesbian is fabulous. Do what you want, right? Like, freedom, love it. But, can you imagine like us or one of us meeting a random younger girlfriend who's a musician and we shoot that sexually charged music video?
I know.
Like, if I wasn't attracted to that girl, why would I do that? Like, it just is like, I don't know.
I know. And then wasn't there like a couple different stories she told about why they did the music video? Like it was filmed before anything was going on, but then it was, we did it because we were like making fun of like the commentary on like what people have been saying about us. It's like, so which is it?
Right. It just, I don't know. Whatever. Do whatever you want. It was just very reminiscent of the Chrishell and G Flip thing. Like, they literally did that music video, and then now I don't know if they're together. Actually married yet, but they're like, they did that Vegas thing or whatever the heck they did. But it's just, I don't know. Like, I just wouldn't do that unless I wanted people to talk about it or I was announcing. And it was funny. Who said it at BravoCon? Oh my gosh, it was one of the casts. Oh, I think it was Crystal, which Crystal, I'm sorry. I just feel like she's not bringing anything, which she hasn't. She wasn't even in the first episode. But she was like, honestly, when I first saw the video, I thought you were like announcing the relationship.
Yeah, I did see that. She said that.
It's like, well, you can see how you would.
Right.
Where do you think that she and Mauricio stand?
I don't know. Well, like currently right now?
Yeah.
Not good. After he was spotted holding hands with those whatever.
Yeah, and then Dancing with the Stars.
And she deleted all her stuff. But he is not on Dancing with the Stars anymore.
Yeah, he got booted.
Which I just found out a couple hours ago.
Oh, you were catching up on it. I feel like, if they're saying they're separated.
Right.
And you're
dating Morgan Wade.
Yeah, if not dating, you're definitely being flirtatious publicly. Why can he not do the same thing?
Right.
Like, I thought that was kind of like, you're hurt by that? Why?
I know. I don't really... I honestly have no idea what's going on. Like, I know. I'm so confused by it. It's like, I literally am like... And he's like, no, I'm not dating my dance partner. And
they came out with that like post together that was so dramatic. It's like
what? So what's going on? And then it's like, oh, because people probably gave you a bunch of hate comments. Yeah, so you're like, come on, saying this, and it's like, what is going on? Like, what a weird gray area to be in. And it's probably so confusing for the kids, especially the kids that are still.
That's it. It was like sad that preview for the later in the season when they set him down, and it has to be either addressing rumors that are going on or saying we're splitting or separating. Right. And they're all crying. I mean, that is just really so tough. Sad. It's tough to go through in such a public way like that. But anyway, what else? I think Dorit has had some funny little quips in her confessionals.
She's kind of a little sassafras this season.
How do you spell hormones? OZEMPIC. That's like Erica Jane. I'm on some really good hormones. What?
I have some.
Yeah, what hormones make you like and then lose it's so much weight?
Even if she would have said, "I've just been really stressed and I haven't been," that. I know, but not the hormone thing. It's like, come on.
I know. I thought her seeing her therapist and asking like, but how do I get empathy? How do you develop that? I'm like, oh,
well, you can't.
Oh, Erica Jane, what is going on? She just keeps digging herself deeper. It's like all last season was just horrible. I mean, I know she was going through a tough time, but she did not help her cause in any way, shape, or form.
I just one of those shows I was watching on my maternity leave.
It was hard to watch because I binged it.
I know. I could not believe some of the stuff she was saying. I was like, dang, girl, you're being filmed.
Yeah, she's like, I don't care about the victims. I care about me.
I know. It's like, woo.
And then who asked about Garcelle. So like, what $750,000 earrings look like? And she's like, they're 1.4 mil or however much it was. It's like, okay.
Yeah, she did not care.
No.
But then that woman was on Juicy Scoop. I don't even remember what this woman was. And she was talking about how they were like doing something for the victims of that. Oh, yes. Or something along those lines. She said
that was a little while ago.
Yeah, she said Erica Jane came and everything and was like trying to be sympathetic and kind.
Yeah, trying. I mean, but what else was she supposed to do at that point?
It's such a weird situation to be in.
It is.
But it's like, on camera, can you just pretend like you care?
Right, that's the thing. That's all you gotta do. And it's like do I think that she knew everything? No, of course I don't. Because she came into that lifestyle when she was young.
She probably didn't even care, to be honest.
No, I think the stuff that came out about them like gypping her, was it her designers for like costumes? And did you hear about that part of it?
A little bit.
That seemed more shady. Like she might have been in the know a little bit more about that. But like, do I think that she was privy to his finances? No.
Right. And it's like, if there's no consequences ever when you're that wealthy, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like you just would have a big disconnect. Like you kind of get away with whatever you want.
Right. But you're right. It's just like, even if you don't actually feel bad, can you just fake it?
I know, like for the cameras.
I mean, because you know that comes off better. I mean, even if you don't care at all about the little people.
I know.
Like, just pretend.
I know.
Do yourself a favor.
Right. Or I'm not going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Would even have been better. It's like, I'm doing whatever behind the scenes. Right. And that's all we need. But instead
it
of
was painful. And it was just like every episode she was digging herself deeper. It was like she just couldn't help herself. And then on this, I think, was it the first episode or the second? They're like blending together when she's talking to the therapist. And I think it's the second one. And the therapist is like, yeah, well, not to be on, I can't remember the medication she was on. And alcohol. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was out of control. Yeah, you were, Erica. You really were.
Right.
Like that was a horrible combination. And you know that. They tell you not to drink when you're on those types of medications. Oh, I mean, I don't know if she's going to have a redemption arc, really, though.
I know. I think she just needs to like be on the sidelines this
She
season.
needs to lay low.
Yes.
Yeah, she really needs to lay low. What was the other thing I was going to say about the episode?
Probably Garcelle's awkward son thing.
Oh, my God. What did you think about that? Because now
I don't like it.
You have 2 sons.
I hope my son never says that to me. I'll just like
shrivel up and die.
My soul will just. I don't know. I was like, and I felt like I was missing something. I was like, I don't think they were. I don't even know if. I mean, I'm sure kids have been on before, but I didn't remember them last season.
No, they would kind of pop in.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, you were a bad mom. Basically, I was like,
right, and I thought it was because the one is Jade, and the one that was saying the bad things, the negative things, was Jax. Right? Is that his name? Is it Jax? It's another J name. Jade and
it might have been Jax.
Something. We're gonna call him Jax. If that's not your name, I'm really sorry, but I don't have my notes and it doesn't matter right now. But when he said like, oh yeah, well, you know, you weren't really there and I needed you 3 years ago, I don't need you now. Like Jade was literally like he's like in his head, he's like, I still need her. What are you talking about? And there's like 16.
I know.
What do you mean you're grown?
And then did I just see something? Was it a preview for the next episode or was this like totally off? That he wants to go live with his dad now? Was that on this episode?
I think it was the preview. Was it the preview? Maybe. I can't remember either.
I was like, oh my gosh, now he's punishing her.
No, it was really weird. And like, because in that episode where they're at the picnic, he's like wanting to stay with her an extra week. And she's like, okay, well, just make sure it's okay with your dad. Mm-hmm. And then in the preview or later in the episode, whenever it was, he's like, he wants to live with his dad.
He's like been testing the waters.
Yeah, it's like, but he just wanted to stay with you. And then they're like, well, you were gone for like a year. And she's like, it was 3 weeks.
I know. I feel like there was like no context to that. I don't know if maybe the son was just going through some kind of angsty.
Well, I mean, they're at that age and like teenage girls aren't very good either, but any teenagers. But it's just like that hurt to watch.
I know. I was like, ow, I don't like watching that stuff.
No,
there's like certain stuff I don't feel comfortable watching.
It felt very like performative from the son's standpoint too, where he's like, this could be my time to like get a soundbite. Yeah.
Get on the show and then like and probably felt braver like saying it like that. I don't know.
But I mean, how was Garcelle supposed to react? And she's like, well, I'm glad that he's sharing it, but it makes me want to die inside.
It's so much different when like the housewives now have their kids on the show versus like back in the day. Cause like I don't know why, but Lynn from OC's, her daughters, like, I don't know, it'd just be like, they'd come on and be like, whatever, I'm going to my friend's house. Yeah. Just like walk out.
I know, even like the little ones would pop in and pop out, but the teenagers, it would be the same thing. Or we'd see like them on the couch.
Yeah. Rolling their eyes. Like, I don't know. It just feels so much different. Like they weren't having deep talks.
No, and I don't really think that they wanted to be a part of the show back then.
But yeah, this just felt like, oh, is this your storyline this season? I don't know.
Yeah. I thought that the talk that Garcelle and Sutton had later was nice, where I like that we're hearing a little bit more about Sutton's marriage and her kids, because I could be wrong because I haven't watched all these seasons, but I don't think we know a whole heck of a lot about that.
I literally died when she was talking about those with Jennifer Tilly.
Oh my God.
And she goes, we just have all these fun antics together and we were on a plane and
I put a
caramels. She gave me caramel candies and I thought they were earplugs and showed me.
How could you think that?
And then I couldn't get them out. I was like, is this real? Like, I literally was like laughing so hard at that. I'm like,
I also don't even know what I would do. Like, I have caramel in my ear now.
And like when you were opening them, didn't they smell like caramels? Like,
did you literally open the wrapper?
It's so pliable. And you know, you twist them. It's like, why aren't these expanding? And then wouldn't it like melt too?
It's
kind
literally
of
like draining down her face.
like, I could just picture Jennifer Tilly. I can't even imitate her voice, but it's like, those are caramel.
I know. Like across the aisle in first class. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that was funny.
Like, she's zany.
What do you think? I thought it was random with Jennifer Tilly. I always forget about her.
But then it all made sense. Like, after she told that story,
you're
and after
like,
she...
I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
This might be a take that not many other people agree with, but I love Jennifer Tilly with that bleach blonde hair.
Yeah, it's not bad. I
don't
love
think her
the dark hair.
Bad. It's fine,
right.
But I love her in that bleach blonde hair because wasn't she
is fun.
What movie
She's
was
Bride
it?
of Chucky.
Yeah, but what the one that I remember her from, wasn't it Liar Liar with Jim Carrey?
That could be. Yeah.
And she had that really short hair. That I wrote it down in my notes, but that is like how I remember Jennifer Tilly in my head.
Yeah, that would be fun to have her as like a friend of. Like, I'm sure she won't pop back up, but maybe she will.
Maybe she will. I would like to see the type of antics that they get into.
I'm like,
they're like goofy little things.
Sense.
Yeah. No, she was a nice little relief in the episode. And then I'm trying to think of they kind of like throw poor what's her name, Crystal, a bone by throwing her this party out in Vegas, and then that's kind of where the episode ends with apparently Sutton is feeling very uncomfortable with Erica Jane's performance at Magic Mike. It was Magic Mike, right? Not like, or was it Chippendales? I think Magic Mike.
Yeah, I think it was Magic Mike because they said something about Channing Tatum or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sometimes when a housewife will get like upset about something, I feel like it literally comes out of nowhere and we have no context.
Right.
It's like, wait, what?
I know.
I guess that happens in real life.
Yeah,
though,
it does. And I feel like the way they edited it could not even be fully about like,
I know, I
she's
feel like
a prude, basically.
I know. I feel like they really misled us. So I was like, what just happened? Like,
but also like in the snips that we saw, like Erica Jane has her legs spread.
I know, it was,
and I'm just like, that stuff doesn't really bother me, but it's just like, you're not the star of the show. Like, why are you up there performing? Like, I know that they call up audience members, but it's like, was this pre-planned, Erica? Like, did you plan to be up there doing all this? I don't know. It's like she just had to make it about her.
I know.
When it should be about Crystal. It's her birthday.
Right.
It was nice that when did they get her a necklace or something?
I don't remember.
Well, I guess that was kind of nice. I just feel bad for Crystal. I said this, like, I think it was last season her first season, or was that the one before?
I think it was the one before, because I think my mom was talking about her before. Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing, I think it was an episode from her first season, and she was just like, has a look of, why am I here? Like, how did I get here? And that's kind of what I feel like. I don't feel like she really fits in with the ladies, and not in a negative way towards her. It's just like, they don't seem to be her crowd.
Right.
And I wonder how enjoyable it all really is for her. Like, genuinely, are you having fun, Crystal?
Right. I don't know.
Anyway, I do miss Lisa Vanderpump on this show, though.
It doesn't even feel like the same show.
No, it doesn't. And then with Who else did we have? Denise Richards.
Which it looks like she's coming back.
Yeah. So and who was the other? Wasn't there somebody else that was in the preview from a previous season? And I'm like, why are all these people back? I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember either.
Maybe if I had my notes. I'm so mad at myself. Anyway, I don't think I have any other Bravo talk. But I would think that was enough for everybody. Golden Bachelor, we're at the final. Was it the final 3 this episode?
It was, but he's about to knock one off.
Okay, who do you think is gonna go?
Theresa. Wait, Theresa, that's her
I think
name,
it has to be Theresa.
There's no way. If he eliminates
Faith, now by the time
there's no way
you are seeing this, we will already know who has been eliminated. But right now we were left at a cliffhanger.
We were.
And I was in shock when he openly said, I love you to Faith in front of her family and in like an alleyway or wherever they were to Leslie. I was like, you just said you weren't going to say that to all these women.
I think Faith's going to win, but I do really like Leslie.
There's something about Leslie I just don't vibe with.
I think the way they look together, I like the way him and her look together, but I definitely think he's going to pick Faith.
I think
I'll be shocked.
I will be shocked if he picks anyone. I will be shocked.
What if he picks Theresa? I would like, what? I'd throw everything.
Theresa is interesting because she had that first one-on-one. And I was like, oh my gosh, how sweet. What a sweet woman. And I don't know if it's like the edit or, she got more comfortable and her real side started coming out. But I think she's a little neurotic.
Yes, she's got, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but like the deranged eyes. It's pretty mean. But if you look at her,
it's like Ramona Singer eyes. Yeah, I know. And even like her mannerisms sometimes, and we kind of talked about the whole Kathy Theresa thing before, but it was like, I just don't get the vibe that Theresa is really this innocent, naive little cherub. Like, I think that she knows more about what she's doing. And yeah, I think she's a little zany.
She is. Yeah, I'm surprised she even made it this far.
Ellen was the one that he eliminated. Yeah. I really liked Ellen.
I know. I think she should have stayed for the final 3. I don't think he was going to pick her, but I think she should have stayed final 3 versus Theresa. I feel like that feels very like the producers made her stay for drama thing.
Yeah, which is just so silly. I mean, and then, it's her and Faith up there waiting, and Faith is obviously nervous but staying stoic. Faith is the clear better option, and I think that if he does not pick her after saying I love you in front of her family, Yikes. That is horrible.
I know.
I can't even. That's what makes me so, I guess, kind of sad at these shows. Is I know that it's a show, but at this stage in the game, the feelings are real because of the environment that you've been in. It's, again, to bring it back to Kairos, you've been isolated.
Literally. And maybe you're not at a level of getting married, even though they're going to get engaged or whatever, but they do have feelings for each other. You know, it's
and you do feel like you're in love. Right. Because it's been you vying for this guy, this only one man that you've been all wanting attention from for however long this goes on for, weeks. And there's nobody else around to give you attention, and he's giving you that. So of course you're going to feel like you're in love. But it's just like when they get to the hometowns and stuff, and, especially in the regular Bachelor, where the Bachelor will ask for, oh, do I have your permission if we were to get engaged? It's like, why are we asking these questions? Like, you already know who you're picking at that stage. And it's hard to bring the families in. I know.
I kind of wish they wouldn't do it. Especially with these older people, because you're like getting their kids and their grandkids. Like, that's just sad.
It's just, it is sad. And we talked about when we first started this season, with the older generation, it's like, some of these women are like, this could be my last chance.
I know.
And I hope that the ones that have already been eliminated kind of realize, like, this doesn't have to be. Like, I can have other romances and I can have fun. But I feel like whoever doesn't get chosen is just going to be devastated.
I know, like, completely.
Yeah.
This doesn't work out, then nothing will. I did see they're having, like, that little, like, women's tell-all
Oh, yeah,
thing.
they're still doing that.
I was surprised that they were going to do that.
I know. I mean, usually that's all about drama. I know.
Like, well, you.
Oh, my God. The Kathy and the Theresa stuff.
There's no way that's not going to be brought
back. I know. I did see, we talk about it every freaking week, but Nick Viall's podcast, when he had April on.
Can I just take a side note about Nick Viall's? I was listening to the recent reality recap.
Yeah.
With the girl from the Catfish was on there.
Yes.
And they're talking about catfish, blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, the one host goes, by the way, Natalie, didn't your grandma die this weekend?
I just wanted to check in with you.
It's like, what? And then he, like, sorry, I was talking about my stupid show that I'm on. I didn't realize your grandma died. And then, like, oh my gosh.
It was so bizarre. And then that went on for like 15 minutes. They're talking about it.
And then you hear the catfish girl going, oh. Like, why when they do that at the very beginning before the guests came out, or before they
their
even
transitions
talked
are
about
hard sometimes.
I was like, did you what? Like, I literally about like fell backwards.
It was. Oh, by the way, Natalie,
since we're talking about connections, didn't you like? You had a loss this weekend. Yeah, my grandma died.
I
was like,
beautiful social media post.
Like,
how are you doing? How's your family?
Like, are we really gonna do this? I don't know. It was so.
It was out of place.
And it's like, if you had gone through, like, let's just say somebody listening just went through a loss and they're trying to like zone out and listen to some reality show recaps. It's not funny. It's just, and then that comes up. It's like
out of nowhere. There was no
that
like
girl
way we could have
literally
known.
paused talking. Natalie, I wanted to bring up that your grandma died tragically. It was like,
suddenly, you didn't expect it.
I know, like, and then a whole thing about the naming the baby with the grandma wanted. I was like,
what is going on?
What are we doing? Anyway,
how the grandfather faked a fall.
Yeah, like a whole thing about, and they had been married for so long. I was like
70 years.
Okay.
Not the twist I thought I don't even think like Nick said like
he did not
10 words the whole time.
I think he was just as thrown off as we were. And then not to keep going on, when they were talking about like I can't remember what they were talking about, but they said something about the daddy thing.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes, I think porn ruined like the daddy thing. Oh, it's part of the Golden Bachelor. Like I knew. And then they're like, what are you doing? Like, just the most immature. What are you doing on your spare time? He's like, all right, I'm the creep. I'm a creep.
I don't know why he has anyone else on this. It should just be him and a guest.
Yes.
Like, and Natalie can come in.
Yeah, here and
we
there.
don't need all these other people.
I know. I was glad they hired another guy, though, because...
That we hardly even
No,
hear
he doesn't
from.
even get to talk, but maybe he will.
What is he doing, lighting?
I know, but I'm hoping that he will start talking more, like, on the H3 podcast.
Well, hopefully, like, sticks up for Nick a little bit.
I know. I was like... There was something else that weird happened in that episode, too. Oh, I think they were talking about... how he was still like going trick or treat when he was older.
Yeah.
So then Natalie's all like, oh, well, I was ding dong ditching people and I was dumping all the candy.
all the candy.
And I'm like,
who would know?
I know.
No one knew there were ring cameras back then.
Nick's like, well, I would wake up and tell my mom
I loved her.
how beautiful she was, and then I loved her, and then I'd go study. Anyway, we don't have to talk about that. But
funny.
Yeah,
sometimes it just feels like, poor Nick. I'm just
it's such like a. It just feels like a bunch of teenagers are sitting there talking to him.
Well, and I don't know if I said this on the podcast before. And not to brag on other podcasts.
No.
We love our peers in the industry. But I looked it up, and like the household, they're not like early 20s. I mean, they're all like,
I know. Well, we looked up Natalie Joy was 25 and he's 41. She's the youngest
one in the household, I think.
He's 41 and she's 25.
Yeah, just in case no one heard that the first time. We just want to make this clear.
Let's put that out there. But I mean, I don't mind the podcast. I just like the reality recap. I'll listen to that sometimes.
I like sometimes the guests.
Sometimes they do have a good guest, and he's a good interviewer.
I never listen to the Ask Nick stuff.
No,
I
me
don't care
either.
about that, but...
Which it's like, it's fine. Anyway,
I thought it was weird. One last thing on that before we go back to whatever the heck we were talking about.
April on his podcast.
That's how we got there. When they were talking about catfish, and then she's like, well, it started with the documentary where Neve got catfished.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me?
You don't remember that? That was a great...
It was. I cannot believe they're still making catfish.
I feel like it would get old, but then the girl was saying,
how are people still falling for
it? I know. I'm like, but she said a lot of it was really emotional now.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it. It's like you're just looking for connection.
Right. And like COVID, I feel like that brought a whole new level. And I think some of the people just really want the person to be true. Mm-hmm. Like they just really want that person to exist, and they're like ignoring it. But I just remember watching those episodes sometimes, and it was like,
but some would even be like, man, I don't know. Could this be them?
I know. And then sometimes it would be.
Yeah.
And it really was like, oh, I just didn't want to FaceTime you.
Right.
But it wouldn't be sad too when they would like act like they were going to meet up with the person and then wouldn't.
That was sad. I liked the ones where it would be somebody that they knew.
Yeah.
And it would either be so maniacal.
Yes.
Or it was like, well, I've always been in love with you.
I know, and they'd see him, they're like, are you kidding me? Yeah. It's that fourth grade loser.
The rage. Yeah. At like, they'd meet at their house and they'd be on the sidewalk and it would be just like pure rage.
I know.
And then the catfishers just like, I'm sorry.
I know.
But now you know the truth.
And they'd have no remorse.
No,
sometimes.
They never would.
That show I used to enjoy.
Oh, I used to watch it. I mean,
kind of want to watch it again now.
They taught me how to do a lot of digging.
I know. They're like, you can take you have to Google image search.
Yes.
It's like, oh.
That taught me a lot of valuable information.
I know.
Not that I feel like I'm catfished ever, or
when you're creeping.
Yeah, but it's just like, like to keep that on handy. I truly didn't even know that show still existed though.
I did, but I didn't know like now.
Yeah.
She's like, we're just filming all the time. It's like, wow.
Anyway, to go back to
April.
I enjoyed that episode with April.
So did I.
I totally see where she's coming from, where like they just are completely, they might be similar in age, but they're very different people. And you kind of knew right away that April wasn't going to end up with Gerry. But I thought it was sad how she was like, you know, it felt like he would just ignore me.
I know. I thought that was sad too. Yeah, I thought it was sad too. It does make me wonder about Gerry, but it's like nobody's perfect.
I know.
I mean, it's like this weird thing. It's like everybody's so quick to be like, Gerry was blah, blah, blah.
But that's why it's frustrating because the women on the show and even like the narrative of like the media has been like, he's an angel sent from above. He can do no wrong.
Right.
It's like, no, he has a past just like anybody else. I'm sure he gets angry sometimes. I'm sure he gets annoying. I'm sure, you know, it's like, why stop putting him on such a pedestal? And even the women, they're like, I've just never met anyone like you. You're so special. It's like, those are all nice things to say. And I don't think he's a bad guy, but it's just like, come on. He's just a human.
Right. It's like, especially the time era he probably grew up in, you know, things were a lot different.
And you know, I mean, I don't know about his dating life, but from what we know, it's pretty slim, right? Like he was just with his wife.
To his wife this whole time. And what's the dog doing? I don't know. Zombie. Where is he at?
He's like under there doing something, being a weirdo. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I guess once this airs, we'll already know who
I'm
he
excited
is
for
chosen.
Fantasy Suite.
Are they gonna do it the same? You think?
I have no idea. And I was talking to somebody too. I'm like, the fantasy suites are so nice too because you get like no camera. You know, you can like just be alone together even if you're not.
That's what I think previous bachelors and bachelorettes have said too. It's like that was the first time that we actually just got to really talk to each other. Yeah.
I feel like Leslie's gonna like not be happy with him being in a fantasy suite with
somebody else. Faith. We know it'll be Faith. Yeah, it has to be Faith.
I will literally. I don't even think I could watch it if it's.
I know because I don't like dislike Leslie, but I like Faith so much more. I wish it was between Ellen and Faith.
I know. I wonder. So is the rose ceremony supposed to be like? Is it in no particular order, or was like
I don't know
Leslie first choice, or were they just trying to like?
I'm sure
producers
they dramatize
being like,
it. Yeah. I'm sure they dramatize
between these two. We really want to put that. We really want to get them even more emotionally distressed.
And when we say both of them, we actually just mean Theresa. So, okay, let's talk special forces really quick, and then we can take a break.
Did it come back?
Yeah, did you not
no,
see?
I didn't watch it.
Okay,
though.
well, we won't
Don't
like detail stuff. I won't. But Nick Viall had a hard time. Yeah, it was on Monday.
Oh, I wonder if I looked on the weekend.
Oh, yeah, because it took like 2 weeks off, I think. But he had a very challenging time this episode. He was like looking real grim. He was like shaking like a little leaf. Yeah, I think it was just like his energy was completely depleted. They had to do this, which I kind of like wasn't paying attention at the beginning, so I didn't really know what was going on. But they had to like carry, they were broken up into teams, and the one person had to like carry all the bags, or two people had to carry all the bags, and then one person had to carry the other person.
Yes. And
it was crazy. But I just have to say, Tyler Cameron was on the one team, and he was carrying, I don't even know who was on his back. It was like, there was nothing. I mean, it was like so effortless for him.
He's a big dude.
I mean, it is like, the more I watch him every week, the more I'm like, you are like a Greek god or something.
I did see he was on Not Skinny Not Fat.
I didn't want to listen, though.
Me either. I kind of wanted to, though, to get to like know him.
Get to know him a little bit better.
Who was this guy that scored Gigi Hadid? I want to know.
I know. I'd love to have him on the pod. He can, again, sit right in between us.
Instead of the dog.
But it was like last week or the last time we watched, he's projectile vomiting.
Right.
This week, he's just carrying somebody, like literally carrying them horizontally across the shoulders, like you might carry a farm animal, like a sheep. It was crazy. Like I was just like, wow.
He's strong.
And it was like he barely broke a sweat. And then comparatively, poor Nick Viall was carrying Sandoval.
Oh my God, that's the same size. What in the world?
And he was struggling. I mean, he was literally like, like he was having such a hard time. And then this is the kicker. I'm not like ruining anything for you. This is just so freaking funny. He can't do it anymore. He's like, guys, I gotta tap out. You gotta help me. So he switches out with none other than I can't even say it.
Like somebody else took Sandoval on their back.
Yeah. And can you guess who it was?
Only thing about who's left. Is it a girl? Who else is it? What girls are on there?
I can't even say it. There's only 2 girls left.
I can't remember who the girls are.
It was JoJo's.
Oh no! Oh
no,
dear.
She did a better job.
I bet she. That's what I'm saying. I bet she did.
She just carried Sandoval like she's like, all right, guys, we can do this. And she's the one that got him to finish the.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, are these roles set? Like, why can't Sandoval carry Nick or something?
Right.
But no, I mean, JoJo came out and was like, all right, man, and just did it.
Slung him over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. She's kind of a beast.
I know. I mean,
she is
legitimately.
an athletic person.
She does not quit.
No, and she doesn't even. She also doesn't look like she breaks a sweat.
No.
Like she just like.
I know, and I don't know how tall she is, but I don't think that she's like that big of a person.
No.
But she is strong.
She is.
Did you see she came out with the podcast?
Yeah, of course she did.
JoJo now, JoJo Siwa now, something. Her name now. Yeah, I probably will not listen to that just because.
I'll just watch the clips on TikTok.
I don't.
So she says something
not that
good.
I dislike her. I just, again, I don't think like I'm the demographic.
I know, and we were like a little too old. Like we weren't in the JoJo Siwa era of whatever Nickelodeon or whatever she was on.
Yeah, so Dance, wasn't she on Dance Moms at first?
Yeah. But
and
I
then
thought
she got
like
her own show or something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But it was really funny. I mean, I felt really bad for Nick because he was like really struggling. Like I thought he might pass out or something. Like he was really looking ill. But yeah, Tyler Cameron was the true standout. He really was. So I can't wait to watch that and just see how athletic he is. All right, should we take a little break?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, we are really excited to announce another collaboration with the brand Happy Earth. They make the cutest clothes and they are sustainable and made really responsibly. We are getting an order in soon, so we're really excited to show you guys some of their cute fashions, especially with the temperatures cooling down here in Ohio. For fall, these are going to be so perfect. So they have everything from organic sweatshirts to organic joggers, really cute graphic tees, and the best part about this brand is that they actually give back to the environment. So with every purchase, you are helping to fight climate change, plant trees, and even clean up trash. So for a nice discount, you guys can use Emotional Support Water Bottle Pod at checkout for a wonderful 20% off. That's at happyearth.com earthapparel.com. Use code emotional support water bottle pod for 20% off at checkout.
Well, we're back. And I got to watch Five Nights at Freddy's on Peacock, and I was pretty happy about that.
Now, you said you watched...
Yeah, I used to watch the gameplays on YouTube. And actually, after me and because he also did, my husband used to watch them too, separately when we weren't together or anything. And we watched one for old time's sake, and it was just as we remembered. I will say, I wish there would have been more jump scares in the movie.
Okay, can I backpedal a little bit? Is it just a game? Mm-hmm. It's only a game. Okay. Because I really don't know anything about it.
It's just like a game, and there's lore to it.
And then they just created a movie based off of it. Okay, gotcha.
Which I thought they did a pretty good, I'm not like this diehard Five Nights at Freddy's person, but they did kind of keep with they did the security guard, because that's what the game is. You're like a security guard.
Okay, so you're Josh Hutcherson in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you only stay in the room, and then you watch them on camera, but you only have a certain amount of electricity. And then there's 2 doors on the side, and then one of the Five Nights at Freddy's people will pop up in the door, and you have to shut the door. And then open it back up, make sure till they leave, basically.
So that's weird. You just are you're pretty stationary.
Yes.
So how do you win the game?
Well, it's it gets really hard. You just have to make it through 5 nights at Freddy's. I don't know. That's all you have to do, literally. But you just have to make it through, and they can't get in and get you.
So then the game or the movie just basically expanded on that.
It did. And there's a lot more backstory to Josh Hutcherson's character, which he did a good job.
Have you seen these edits of Josh Hutcherson? I'm where is this coming from?
Well, I was always Team PETA because I always liked the nice guy.
And I just think he was, I liked PETA better because he was sweet, but Gail was definitely hotter.
Mm-hmm. He was definitely the more
taller, masculine.
Dang, but I wonder anyway, about the movie. I thought it was good. I feel like middle schoolers would have loved it. Because it wasn't overly gory or anything. But the only thing I wish there would have been more jump scares.
Why weren't there? I feel that would have been the perfect opportunity.
There were some, but I think they could have done so much more with that. But it was entertaining, and I liked.
I'll have to watch it.
But it was a little bit sad. There was the backstory.
The backstory of it, yeah.
And then there's Josh Hutcherson's backstory, and it was just kind of sad. But he did a good job. And then there was a female police officer that would
pop in.
Yeah, that was the girl from the first season of You. The blonde girl was in that.
Okay, that's random, but I guess, gotta work too.
I know.
So.
Well, I was looking at her. I'm she looks familiar. She's got to be somebody. And I'm oh, that's who she is.
So was it scary at all, though?
I mean, it felt like the game where it'd give you the heebie-jeebies.
A little creepy.
Yeah, and there was they'd walk past, and then one of the
would be animatronics.
Yeah. And then they wouldn't see it. But I mean, yeah, there was a little bit of spook, but not
anything horror.
But yeah, it definitely wasn't I don't know. It was, and there was funny stuff too. I definitely laughed a couple times, but
was it what you expected or not?
Yes and no. I guess I was expecting for more gore, and there wasn't, which would, I said, that would be a fun to watch with your kids in this weird way, older kids.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining, and I personally liked it. But
yeah,
I wonder what happened with Josh Hutcherson. It was the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I know.
Bridge to Terabithia.
Yeah, he didn't he do some other random
stuff.
Little
but then
Disney-ish movies,
and then it never
after Hunger Games. I feel like that was
just fell off. And then what sucks too is because of the strike thing. It's you can't even really fully promote it, and this is his big
return.
Yeah, because I even saw Matthew Lillard.
Oh yeah, I saw
and
that.
he was like, I can't say anything, but
I've seen a lot
you.
of stuff on TikTok or like he's come up. I think it was him at like almost like a Comic-Con type thing, and he was there at a booth and people were like taking pictures of him and they're like, oh my god, he's such a babe. And I'm like, that's a random choice, but okay.
You're like, isn't that like quirky way?
Yeah.
But he definitely seems, I don't know, he just feels like older now. Like he was cute as Shaggy and like obviously in Scream and stuff.
Years have passed. Yeah. He looks like similar though. You can tell it's him still. I've been obsessed with the Five Nights at Freddy like transformations on TikTok. Like I don't even know if you were watching them and that's how it came up to me, but every time they pop up I'm like, yes. When I hear the song I'm like, oh yes.
I know. I had been watching them too, but
it's
and
so
like looking
crazy.
looking up some of the stuff about the movie, but then I stopped because I wanted to watch the movie.
I'm just in awe with how these like makeup artists can do. They get like, I don't even know what it is, that moldable it's not clay, I don't know what it is, for their like the headpieces and all this stuff. I'm like, this is just so intense.
Well, the guy who did the Five Nights at Freddy's, I believe, I didn't end up looking it up, is one of the guys. Do you remember the show Face Off? Not the movie, but that show. The one judge, like the one guy, like the main guy. I believe, I should probably look it up, but I believe he was the one who did, I'll look it up later, the prosthetic stuff.
Okay.
I believe that was him.
I mean, yeah,
hopefully I'm not making that up, but I think that's what I heard.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah, I liked just seeing what the different creators are doing with it, and like some are like, oh my gosh, it's so good, and then others I'm like, and I had known nothing about the real characters, but I'm like, that could have been better. Well, that's fun that you got to relive that little time.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, let's get into it.
Yes.
We haven't discussed anything.
No, we haven't.
Because we got this yesterday when it was released. And
it's a poetry book.
Yeah, it took me about an hour to read it last night because I kept looking up stuff. Like I kept getting distracted. I'm like, wait, who has she been with? Wait, could this have been?
Okay. That's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I watched like this really, really short, I don't know if you watched that little tiny interview she did.
Good Morning America, I think.
And she's like, well, I've been with a lot of people that
nobody knows about.
I don't know if I believe that, because there's been other times where she said, she's like, this was like a while ago, but she's like, I've only been intimate with 3 people. But this was like before Machine Gun Kelly. And I'm like, so which is it? But
yeah, because then she was like, I guess you could say I shared energy with. It's like,
yeah. So what does that mean? Well, not that I don't believe that, but I do think she's trying to be like, no, that's not about my ex-husband, but like it is about my ex-husband.
Would believe that she did have relationships that we didn't know about. Like I believe that, but I am just skeptical because I'm like, how convenient.
I know. It's like, no, these, and then she's like, well, I've been engaged more than once. I'm like, well, yeah, you would have been engaged to Brian Austin Green.
Yeah. And so the ones I kept thinking of were the main ones, like Brian Austin Green, obviously MGK, and Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I know. And David Gallagher.
Yes.
Oh my God, I was obsessed with him on 7th Heaven.
Well, he was that good Christian, wholesome television show.
I just thought he was so cute.
I feel like when I would watch that show when I was younger, I didn't even like realize how
doopy it was.
Yeah, I like it. They're just like, this is a good wholesome television. There's nothing funny going on here. We're just a good old Catholic family. Like I didn't even realize that, and then now, like once I got a little bit older, I'm like, what is going on?
I know, right? I know. There's so many that'll pop up on TikTok that'll like show some of the episodes sometime, and I'm like, oh my gosh, in the way I just used to love that show. Like,
I know,
what
Jessica Biel.
Yes.
I know, it was just
Beverly Mitchell.
Yes, yeah.
Gosh, I was obsessed with her for no reason.
No reason at all. And the characters
Lucy.
they weren't even that good.
No, I would love to like actually watch a couple episodes of that now and just to like.
I don't even know if we'd be able to get through it.
Didn't they take it off air or something because the dad got all those allegations and they won't like show the.
Yeah, I mean, that really tainted it, to put it lightly. Anyway, back to Megan Fox. So yeah, Pretty Boys Are Poisonous. We didn't even say the title.
Pretty Boys Are Poisonous. Poems
by Megan.
And I was a little annoyed. I don't know who wrote her about the author.
Yeah, but it was nothing.
Nothing.
It gave us literally nothing.
Here, let me read it for everybody. Megan Fox is an actor, writer, mother. She lives in Los Angeles. That's all you get.
Thank you.
I could have told you. I'm like, could I have written that?
Yeah. I could have given more detail.
I did like that the actual poems that the title was at the bottom.
I liked that too.
At first I didn't really understand it, and then I was like, oh, that's the title.
It was almost like a little surprise after I read it, and then it was like a little nugget of like
what it's about. Yeah, you're like, oh,
yeah.
I get it. Like some of them were more like direct than others.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I just as overall thoughts on this, I found it really powerful. And like I've never been in like a physically abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, trigger warning.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how much we'll get into it, but
I've never been in that situation, but like you could feel it.
Yeah.
In her writing. You're like, wow.
I know, and a lot of it did obviously she was like blacklisted.
Yeah.
But a lot of it made sense, especially if good portions of the I did go to the blind items for some of this.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Because I wanted to see like these other alleged guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess what I'm trying to say is if the domestic violence, like some of it is from her husband.
Well, it's just like...
Which is what the blind items say.
Well, it makes the most sense. That was the longest relationship. We know there was stuff going on.
And then she would like be... I guess what I was trying to say is she would be disappeared or like gone for a while and like randomly be out pregnant at the beach getting her pictures taken with him.
Remember when we hadn't seen Megan in a while and then she comes back on the scene and we're like, oh my gosh, what did she do to her face? Mm-hmm. Why did she get this work done? It makes me wonder if she had to get something done.
Yeah, because it's like and she talks about like a really controlling relationship. And there's even one poem, I don't know if I wrote it down, where she literally says, I wake up, put on a smile for my kids. Yeah. It's like that has to be about
it has
the
to
husband.
Be. Yeah. There were definitely a lot that were about Machine Gun Kelly too, which I thought was interesting because like all the ones where she talks about like my twin flame and like the most beautiful boy and the pretty, like we know she's used that verbiage regarding him. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that those are about him. But some of those were really like, ooh,
not nice.
I mean, that they have a somewhat tumultuous relationship, just knowing who he is.
Right.
And like, but I do really think that their love is very deep.
I know because at first when I was reading some of them and I was like, oh, this is probably about him. I was like, and I was like, but I really do think that they like each other and that are in love with each other. And so it was kind of like it's kind of strange though too, because I guess I don't know how I fully feel. I mean, who cares what I feel about it? But it's like, I don't know how I feel about.
Yeah, because on one hand, you're like, is this concerning?
Yes.
Like, is it a toxic relationship? And then on the other hand, you're like, well, but we know that they go to therapy. We know that they're working on whatever. We know that they do care about each other a lot. So it's really like, I guess it's whatever their choice is. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But right at the beginning, trigger warning, she has a poem that was entitled Rape. So I don't know if that was
that one
within a relationship or outside of a relationship. She meant
like emotional and physical.
Yeah.
I did kind of just like, I almost felt like Beyonce's Lemonade album, where it was like, here's all this bad stuff in our relationship, but we're still together and have worked through it. Like, it kind of felt like that a little bit, I thought.
One of my favorite ones, and I won't read it. None of them are like that long, but it's just, I don't think anyone wants to hear me recite poetry. But it was on page 15. It was, I would die for you. Oh, JK, LOL. And it was using like the Romeo and Juliet analogy, but it was like, the man wouldn't actually do that.
Right.
Like, I liked that one. I thought it was...
I had that one as one that I liked. There's a lot of good ones, but there are, I think it was like 70 poems in here. And again, they're not all like long.
No.
And they were all good, but there was definitely some where I understood them more and I enjoyed them more.
They really, I mean, with poetry, like, I think even just with writing, like, I remember being in school and we would be like trying to evaluate everything and pick everything apart and like, well, what's the reason for this? And it's like, sometimes you don't know, or the way writers write things, it sometimes is meant to be cryptic.
Right.
Or it's like, maybe there's multiple meanings. Maybe they don't want you to know exactly the meaning.
Right.
Maybe it's just their feeling, you know? Like, I just don't know if we can sit here and like study the poems and ever really find out and match it up to who these are all about, you know?
Although it was fun trying to.
It was. I mean, I was right there. Like, it took me as long as it did to get through it because so many times I'm whipping my phone out. Yeah.
I know.
The one is a 32-year-old narcissist quantifies his crimes. I'm like,
I have that one written down too.
About MGK, like straight up. Or...
I know, and that one was a confusing one too because I was like, I guess we don't know the timeline of these, but that would be about his age. But then I was like, well, is this coming from like a younger version of herself?
Yeah.
And he, you know, whoever the guy was 32 at the time. Because I know Brian Austin Green is older.
I know. I thought that too.
The mystery man that allegedly
we don't know
exists.
About. Yeah.
That's what I know. Then you're like, because some of them are kind of like, yeah, that's definitely about that person.
There were, I mean, I flagged a bunch of them, not necessarily to even like talk about them, but just, I was like, whoa, those kind of like hit me. The one, Don't Worry, Darling on page 34 and 35, I think this might have been one of the first of the longer ones. It took 2 pages, but it was like, you know, about abuse and stuff. And then it said, like, your parents abandoned you. No one ever taught you not to. It's just because you love me. So I read that and I'm like furiously like, Brian Austin Green parents, Shia LaBeouf parents. Right? Like, who is this about? Whose parents abandoned them? But it wasn't any of the 3.
Is it Machine Gun Kelly though? Because there was a couple with like, I think there was one called like Boys with No Mothers. Wasn't he abandoned by his mom, but now they talk
now they have
something?
A thing. Yeah,
so you do have to wonder.
I don't really know about his dad. Was he?
I can't remember.
I'd have to look that one up.
But then you're like, is it about David Gallagher? Yeah, you know, like we almost know nothing about him.
I know. Yeah, that one was.
Or is it about all of these people at once in a way?
And she did say in that interview, she's like, nothing in here is fictional.
Right.
So, which I didn't think.
Right.
I really liked 70 times 7.
Yeah, I liked that one too.
Oh my gosh, we like all the same ones.
That must mean those are like the good like good writing because you
We're
don't
the
know.
twin flames. Yeah, that one and then I'm like 70 times 7. Okay, that would be 490. What does this mean?
I know, right? But I thought it was like in the Bible, they go, you're supposed to forgive somebody 70 times 7.
Oh.
So, and it does say.
Yeah.
About
forgiveness. Oh, that's a good point. There we go.
And she did come from like, I think she went to Catholic school.
A religious background. Yeah.
Like, whatever. That's what
yeah, I really liked that one.
I know. I guess I don't know. Like, they're not. I guess we could read a couple of them.
Yeah.
Just for.
I don't want to read like super long ones. No. I don't know what's it. I marked a bunch of them. They're just like. I feel like if I can feel moved by these words, and I've never experienced some of these things that she's experienced, I can only imagine how it must feel for somebody who's been in any type of an abusive relationship,
right? To
read it. I mean, they must really feel heard in some ways,
mm-hmm.
You know, that they can relate in some ways. Like, I really liked that. I just really liked what she was doing.
I did too. I wish we could have got like a little bit of a timeline just for fun. Like, had she just been like writing these for a while?
Right. Or
and like in that
newer?
Interview, there wasn't really like
they didn't talk
clear
about
indication.
That.
I will say from the I shouldn't have been on the blinds. On the blinds, there is a poem in here. Wonder if let me see. It's one of them. I'm not sure which one it is, but it references she says something about like, I just couldn't wait to tell you. Like, it sounds like he's like yelling at her and berating her. And then she's like, I just want to smile at you and tell you that
I dog-eared that one. It is
pen 15.
Yeah.
is
it is called Fatality.
Ah, that's the one.
Yep. I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, in the blinds, there is a blind that says Brian Austin Green's pen 15 is small. So then I'm like, so
it's probably about Shia LaBeouf. Here's one that I liked, and it's short that I'll read it. It is on page 91, if anyone is following along. Like every woman, they refuse to listen to my words. Instead, they criticize the shape of my mouth as I speak them. And the title is, I didn't sign up to compete in your BS beauty pageant.
I had that one written down too. I was like, that is so true, especially for her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we literally just said that her face changed a bunch that one time after we hadn't seen her.
But now that like this book is out, it really does make me think, like, could it have been because of abuse? And like when we didn't know, it was like, why did she get surgery? Like, she's so beautiful. Right. But it's like, well, maybe she needed to,
right?
You know, like it just makes you wonder now. And yeah, I mean, I don't think we were ever harsh on Megan Fox. Like, we have always really liked her.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, the media was horrific to her.
Yeah, I agree.
Then, you know, another trigger warning. This jumps ahead a little bit. Oh, this was another one I liked before I go into the trigger warning. 109, I will always be in love with the man that you'll never become.
Yeah.
Unrealized potential.
Yeah. That one I kind of wondered was about Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Coulson.
But, you know, he's the one that told her to write this. So it, obviously
that's why it felt like lemonade to me. It was like
there are some that get towards the end that are about a miscarriage that she
and when I was reading the blinds, that was like in the blinds, but I had never heard
heard of that.
So when I was reading that, I was actually kind of shocked that she said that.
And then she discussed it in that GMA interview.
Yeah.
She's like, that was, it was Colson and I, we went through that together. I'd never experienced that. I never had issues with pregnancy. She has her kids already. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe that never was out there.
I know. I didn't know it was out there at all. And I thought, and the poems she did about it were really, beautiful.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were sad.
And I wonder if they'll try to have another baby.
I hope so, honestly. I would love to see it.
I know, but then I'm nervous about it too because I'm not sure about this relationship.
They seem to be working through stuff
And then I wondered what the timeline of the miscarriage was because remember when they had that breakup and everybody was like, oh, he's cheating on her with that girl in the band. And then you're like, is this when the miscarriage was? Because how insensitive. Because she said they broke up in the interview. Or was it in the interview that she said? That they broke up a couple times?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was in the poem.
And, well, in the poem, I don't think I marked that one, but it was right at the end.
Yeah, it was the last one.
She talks about, there was some, conflict in the relationship because of the...
Yeah, and, they broke up and got back together and stuff. So then again, I don't know the timeline, but it's if that was the timeline and then everyone was like, he cheated on her.
I know. Dude. I thought that too, how horrible.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, those are beautiful to read, beautifully sad to read those. I liked 127 too, An Apparition in a Mini Skirt, which was basically all about how I changed my life and cut people out for a relationship. I cut everyone out of my life that you didn't like, my assistant, my friends, my own sister. I stopped doing the things that I loved. And then she lists a bunch of things. And I'm like that. Again, I could see that being Brian Austin Green.
I definitely think that was Brian Austin Green. There was another one that was like that too, where it's it's one of these that I have written down.
I know when you
The Art of Becoming an Accessory.
I think I have that
where she's
one too.
I stopped laughing. I stopped.
Yeah.
Doing all this stuff.
The one that was really graphic was oxycodone and tequila. And that was the longest one in this book, and it really detailed the physical abuse, and it was very jarring to read, and it was painful to read that and to think that she experienced that. And even though hopefully it's not in her current relationship, I'm really hoping it's not, she's made it through that in whatever way. It still is so sad to think that she kind of went through that alone and didn't really no one knew about that. And then in the interview she said that there were a lot more of this style that she could have that were kind of more graphic. And I'm glad that she didn't put a ton of those in there, because I think that would be very difficult for some people to read. But it was also very real, you know?
And she did say too, because people are going to dig into who it is. And it's if this person is a father of your children, that is a really sticky situation.
For sure.
I liked this one. It's called Funerals Are for Lovers. I'll just read it because it's really
short. Yeah.
I am realizing that this fairy tale will not have a happily ever after. Instead, it will end prematurely with one of us reading a eulogy. Funerals are for lovers, which I thought was really, because it's every love story is going to end with the one of you dying.
Yeah.
It's like, that is so. I do. Let me see here. What was I gonna say? What I wanted to say about Megan Fox in general is like, even just like reading this story and how she kind of romanticizes herself in a way, and she almost kind of feeds into like what society has sort of done to her in that way.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking of like, I mean, this, you know, I was just comparing it to Emily Ratajkowski's book, because that was like more of an essay and this is obviously a poetry book. But I just find Megan a little bit more sympathetic, because I feel like Megan practices what she preaches. And I don't think that Emily Ratajkowski does, but I do feel like they have kind of like this similar. I mean, obviously, Megan did more acting. Right. I want to be an actor and not an influencer type situation that Emily Ratajkowski is being. But I almost feel like they were kind of like on the same trajectory in that way.
Well, this just felt more real.
It did. And it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't trying to be something it wasn't. Like, if you hear Megan Fox in her interview, she talks like this. Yeah. She talks very like in her feelings.
Yeah. Like this felt very self-aware.
It did.
And very just like, you know, I've worked through this. Like, I've thought about this. Like, I've analyzed this. I've talked to my therapist about it. You know, like, it really.
She definitely seems like somebody who's really put in the work on herself, which is kind of like nice. And I feel like it is. And I feel like she really like put the work into Coulson or Machine Gun Kelly as well.
Yeah. So while I was, you know, looking up stuff, I went to her Instagram and I was looking at just like her pictures, and then I looked in the comments, and I was just so, I guess, not surprised, but like thoroughly disappointed that people, I mean, there were hardly any positive comments. And it's just like, you know, every time she would post, maybe it's a little risque, like, but nothing, like, I don't think she posts anything so vulgar. I mean, Megan Fox has always been hot. She's like stunning. Like, I can't even comprehend her beauty. Like, so anything she posts, I feel is going to like pull in that jealousy from both like men and women. But like, it was truly unbelievable, like, to see just how much people are still hating her and targeting her. And if they're not talking about her looks, they're saying like, well, you never made it as an actress. Like, you're worthless, basically, like on every single post. And I'm just like, why are we targeting her? So like, I can't understand. Like, literally from the beginning, she has just had a target on her back, and it's felt so misplaced. And even now, when we're supposed to be in this time of like, you know, the Me Too movement that happened, and we're gonna have more power to women and all this stuff, it just feels like, well, that doesn't apply to Megan Fox. Right. And she's talked about that before, but then to see it so openly on her Instagram, I was just like, oh my God. And specifically, she posted we talked about the Halloween one with the SAG after thing. And I mean, the comments in there were like, you're such a scab. Are you serious? Like, you're going to do this? I mean, no one saw like the tongue-in-cheek of it when all these other celebrities commented on how, like, are you serious? Like, you don't want us to dress up in Halloween costumes. This is how we're going to fight this. But no, when Megan did something, it was like, this is the worst thing ever. You'll have to look at some of the posts, because it was just like, I'm scrolling, and I'm like, where are the kind words? The temperatures are starting to cool down, and you know what that means. It is cookie making season. So instead of making your own cookie dough or going and buying that prepackaged stuff at the store that we know isn't super healthy, why not try something that is actually made with good for you ingredients? That is where dough comes in. These cookie doughs are ready to make right out of the tub, and you can also eat the cookie dough raw because it is vegan and gluten-free. The best part is that it's enhanced with different vitamins and supplements that can support your immunity or help stabilize your mood. We have tried a few of these different flavors, and we're always eager to try new ones. They are so delicious. We've tried the donuts as well, which are so perfect to put in your lunchbox for work, and we're going to be trying some of the delicious spreads that they have soon. So if any of that sounds good to you, go to Eat Dough. That's dough spelled DEUX.com and use our promo code WATERBOTTLE for 10% off. That's eatdough.com and use promo code WATERBOTTLE.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like she's just still completely discredited from like comments she made about Michael Bay like 15 years ago.
But it's also just like, seriously?
I know. And she even like not retracted or redacted them, but she like commented on them again. She's like, I wasn't targeted by them. I wasn't assaulted, by Steven Spielberg and all that. And it's like they've worked together since then.
And she's not the only person at that time when she originally had those comments that had like spoken out about something.
Right.
And for some reason, for somebody else, maybe it was buried in the media or maybe it was just like, okay, whatever. But for her, it was like it ruined her career.
Literally.
Yeah, I just guess I don't understand why there's such a difference when it comes to Megan Fox.
I know, because she's gorgeous and everyone's jealous.
Like
it's
I truly,
like it's literally that.
Yeah, and we talked at length about this with, Emily Ratajkowski and her book and stuff. But I mean, for Megan Fox, like this has been for the majority of her career.
I know she like almost never fully recovered from that. Those comments.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that the world wasn't ready to hear about that at the time, but it is still crazy that she literally just cannot. And then it's like, I know people have mixed feelings about like Machine Gun Kelly, and then she's like out here openly with him and like talking about drinking each other's blood and rituals.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little weird.
So it's
but
like, I get that people are still ready to like hate on her, but I don't understand why either. Like, I just literally don't understand why she could not recover even after working with that same director again.
Yeah, I don't understand. And it's like we're totally fine with just discrediting her as an actress and any other work that she's done. It's like pointless, waste of time, whatever. Like no one wants to hear it or see her. And it's like, why? Like, does it literally just stem from the fact that she was a beautiful woman who spoke her mind?
Right. Or is it like some pent up thing? Like these girls that are maybe our age when their boyfriends wanted to go see Transformers.
Right.
Because Megan Fox was hot and they like are still harboring this like hatred about that. It's like,
I mean, we kind of touched on this, like, I think I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but we were talking about Jennifer's Body. And it just brings forward this like larger narrative, I think, surrounding Megan Fox of just like, why is this the way that it is? Like, and with Jennifer's Body, like that movie was so, I mean, it tackled so many things, but at first it wasn't really taken super seriously. And it was just like, oh, it's a, it's kitschy like, little movie.
Right. And it's like bad marketing.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't just Megan Fox being hot, it was like, oh no, we can't like that.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like she cannot win.
No. And I think even like coming out with this like vulnerable poetry book and talking about abuse that was probably at the hands of her husband. Yeah. It's like she's probably still not going to get any credit. I know. Where it should be. It's just gonna be like, oh well, she's dating Machine Gun Kelly.
I know, and I guess I don't know why. I know that they do some things that are kind of out there, you know, and not the norm. But it's just like, why do we care so much that they're like, I know, together? Like I'm obsessed with them. They're so beautiful and
and it doesn't
dark and lovely.
Like, doesn't feel performative. Like it feels genuine, and they've kind of taken like a pretty big step back from like being out there like that. So it's almost like they were self-aware that they were like a little overexposed. Yeah. So it's like, if they're not in your face bothering you.
Well, and like we said before, the thing that I really appreciate about Megan Fox and now her relationship with MGK is that it seems like they really do work on it. Right. They have like grown since they first got together. She has tried to like help him grow as a man and in a relationship. Like, how can you like hate on that? I guess it's just so strange.
They're bitter and not in love themselves.
Yeah, I just don't, you know, like I'm happy. I hope that Megan Fox is happy. Right. And with how these poems were a little convoluted, like sometimes it made you wonder if she was completely happy in her relationship.
I know. And I think like something she really kind of like brought up in the book, like an overarching theme, I guess, is like, why do like attractive men always get these like passes in the way they treat women? And then it's always like put on the women that it's like her fault somehow. And as she does seem to like, I mean, again, we don't know Machine Gun Kelly, but it's like she does seem to pick like these really tortured souls. It's like she's really drawn to.
But you know what? Like, and I thought this and then I looked it up to make sure. But Megan is a Taurus.
She is. And they both are.
Yeah. So is he. And it just, when I like confirmed that with myself, I'm like, this makes so much sense. Because like, I'm also a Taurus, so like, you know, I feel camaraderie here, even though I can't relate to anything that she's really saying. That's fine. But it's like, I think that they like that star sign, and she's so into star signs too. It's like they are.
She loves astrology.
Yes, and like
birth charts.
A Taurus is very like, you know, deep and kind of more, I don't know, like deep in their feelings in a weird way and like very loyal. And I think that she's just a very typical Taurus where it's like she almost sees this like quote unquote broken person and is like, no, our love can save it. Yeah. So I don't know, and now it's like the two Tauruses together. I'm like, oh God, I don't know if this is a great combination or a bad one.
I don't know either. I know it will be interesting to see if they end up like staying together. And when she talks about the relationship, she really does bring in like all the birth chart stuff. It's like in her head, it has to work because her birth charts are so perfectly aligned.
If she's done that all the time, or if that's like, did she do that with Brian Austin Green? Right. Like, has she always done this, or is it like a newer thing that she's gotten into when she like realized that they were twin flames and they felt
she said, I was listening to this, and actually the one when she was on with Randall and Lala. I listened to that. And she said she's been doing it since she had kids.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how long before that. So I don't know if she did it before Ryan
Austin
during
Green. Her marriage. I enjoyed the book of poems. I mean, it wasn't really something that I walk away from and I'm like, oh, wow, I feel uplifted. But it gave me just like things to think about a little bit more. And I like hearing from someone else's perspective and hearing things that they've gone through. And I really like Megan Fox. So.
Right. So I enjoy owning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everybody would enjoy it because it's her.
Right. It's like you'd really have to want to hear what she has to say.
Right.
Because again, it isn't just like a memoir. It is literally just poems.
Just poems. Yeah. I hope that she releases another one.
I know. I need more now.
Yeah. Like much like Britney. I need a volume 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any other thoughts on the book?
I mean, I think just like talking about like kind of like romanticizing just even society, like bad boys.
Yeah.
Which she definitely had a lot of that in here too.
It's funny because I think Brian Austin Green was considered such a bad boy when it was 90210 days, but by the time the two of them got together, it was like, Brian Austin Green.
Who's that?
Yeah, where did you come from?
My mom talks about Brian Austin Green,
but he definitely kind of lost that bad boy persona.
But also not.
Clearly not. Yeah.
In private, not.
Yeah, in private he hadn't. So yeah, I would recommend to somebody who likes Megan and enjoys poetry, and maybe this could be a healing thing for people who have gone through any type of turmoil in a relationship.
Yep.
Good job, Megan.
Yes.
Did you have a recommendation for this week? Do we want to wrap it up?
Sure. Yeah, my recommendation is, I hope they still have them, but at Trader Joe's they have these cornbread.
Oh yeah, you sent those to me.
Cracker things. Gosh, those are good. Tastes just like cornbread. I don't even know. So good.
But it's a cracker. Do you eat them alone or with like cheese or something?
I eat them alone, but you could.
I love cornbread.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't like about the seasonal stuff at Trader Joe's. Is like it goes so fast.
I know. It's like if you don't buy 100 of them at one sitting, you're not going to get them again. But hopefully they're still going through the fall.
I know. I'm going to recommend Liquid IV. I just picked up more today because I don't know. For some reason, I'm usually good about drinking water if I'm at home. But in my job, like, it's a walk to go fill up my water bottle. Not that that's an excuse, but sometimes I just get like caught up in what I'm doing. And then I always have my water bottle with me, but it's empty. So I got Liquid IV again. And in the past, it has really helped with hydration. So I would recommend it to anybody who maybe doesn't drink as much water as they should. Because since we're getting into the colder weather, being hydrated is really important for our skin and overall health. So
yeah,
that's what I'd recommend. Kind of a silly recommendation, but it was what I could think of from most recently. So, nice. Okay, well, you guys, I hope you're all liking the new day of Friday. Don't forget to follow us on our socials, and we will see you next week.
Bye.